All right, so I just wanted to give you guys an update on Indy and also talk about why your application for a rescue dog might have been rejected and how to move forward from that. I've been getting a lot of people asking me that, and I know that it can be a really frustrating process, and I've talked about it a lot on my Instagram, and I'm always more than happy to answer your DMs or any personal questions you might have, so feel free to send me a message over there as well. But I figured I would talk about it in this video as well, since some of you watching might not be familiar with my Instagram and my experience with fostering and rescue and that kind of stuff. First and foremost, I'm very happy to say that Indy was adopted. She is super, super loved, and her family is amazing, and we are so excited for her. Her new name is Kaya. So one of the last times I saw you guys was when I was taking her to her trial, and I told you I would tell you about the meet and greets. So Indy had 4 meet and greets. All of the families had been approved through the rescue. So the rescue has a board. They go through the applications and they pick the top applicants for the dog based on when they sent that in. And then from there, we go forward with meetings. So she got to meet with 4 different families. All were so amazing. Like literally, I have never had a situation like that where every single person that I met with would have been a perfect fit for her. Essentially at that point, what happened was everybody that met with her was wanting to move forward with the trial, and there was no reason why one of the families wouldn't work out for her. They were all really, really great. So then the rescue just goes off of who was the first person to send in the application, and we go from there. It was so hard for me because I told the rescue, I was like, if I could clone 4 Indies and each give each family an Indy, I would do that, because everybody was such a great fit for her, and she is just such an easy, sweet, good dog that she would fit in really well, and that's not always the case with all dogs. So we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, I just wanted to give you guys an update. We are so, so happy that she found a home, and it's just always the best feeling to know that you helped play a part in that journey for that dog. Before we start, I hear people use these terms interchangeably, and they're very, very different, so I want to clarify. Adopting a dog and fostering a dog are not the same thing. They both happen with a rescue, but a rescue relies on fosters to take the dog into their home, like exactly what I did with Indy, until they can find their forever home. Then their forever home are the people who adopt them. They are committing to taking care of this dog for the rest of their lives. As a foster, you're only committing to taking care of the dog until they find their forever home. Just wanted to clarify that, and that also might be confusing for a rescue if you're applying for a dog saying you want to foster them and that dog already has a foster. So now that we've cleared that up, I want to talk a little bit about how rescues work. I think a lot of people think that rescues are these big organizations, that they are funded by something, and that they run like a business. And that may be the case for some rescues, but that's really not the case for all rescues. And there are many, many rescues that are just very mom and pop style. They're family run, they're run by one person, they're small. So when you do send in an application and you don't get a response, I understand it can be frustrating, but I also really want to open the window to what it's like on the other side of things, and that is that a rescue is most likely only going to be run by a few people, sometimes even just one person, and they have volunteers. Some rescues have more volunteers than others. Some might be in a growing pain phase where they've gotten a lot of requests right now, and they're not used to having that many requests. In addition to getting dogs from the shelter, rescues also get calls, emails, texts all the time from people who are either trying to surrender their dog, which we call an owner surrender. So that's people that are moving and can't take their dog with them, or their dog bit their child and they have to get rid of them, or their dad passed away and the family can't take the dog, whatever that reason might be. So that's owner surrenders. They'll also get calls from people who find stray dogs. They also get calls from other rescues who have dogs that they cannot take care of because they don't have enough fosters or resources. So rescues will try to find other rescues that have more fosters and more resources to take those dogs. For example, the rescue that I work with, Mayday Rescue, they get calls from a rescue that is run by one person. She's in the desert. She finds litters of puppies behind Walmarts. She finds them in dumpsters. She'll have them surrendered to her sometimes. She finds them in hoarder cases. And the rescue I work with will get a call the day before and sometimes even the day of. All of those different things combined are things that rescues have to deal with on a daily basis. And it doesn't stop there. Once they have a request to take on an animal, they then have to find somebody who can transport the animal, because most of the shelters are going to be a little bit of a drive. If it's a dog in the desert, then somebody has to drive out to the desert. So the rescue has to then find a transporter. Once they find a transporter, then they have to figure out if they have any fosters available. So they have to reach out to their foster network, figure out who can take on the dog, so that when the transporter gets the dog or a cat or puppies, whatever it might be, they're able to take it to the foster. When you foster, you don't pay for any food, any vet bills, any toys, anything that the dog might need, the rescue provides. So then the rescue has to make sure that the foster has everything they need for this dog. Then they have to check up on the dog's health issues. If the dog needs immediate vet care, if they're coming from the shelter, then they're good to go. A lot of times they might have just gotten fixed, so they might need something for that. And then if they're from the street, they're an owner surrender, or they're just found somewhere, that is going to require a pretty immediate vet visit. And then sometimes there needs to be a dental done if the teeth are really bad. Sometimes there needs to be antibiotics for an ear infection. If they're not fixed, they'll have to get fixed through the vet, and it's a lot. That's just part of it. So then when the rescue is networking a dog that they have available, they are going to get applications in for that dog. And right now we're living in very weird times. Before, like I said, when I was fostering, I would have a dog sometimes for 3 months. So things have definitely changed in a very overwhelming way. Now people are home. Everybody wants a dog because they're able to work from home. They have time to train a dog. Whereas before, that option might not have been available to them because they were working full-time in an office. Everybody wants a dog right now. Like, it's pretty insane. So rescues have gone to promoting dogs for months, trying to get them adopted, to posting a dog, and within an hour they have 50 applications for the dog. And that is just so abnormal. And so if you are applying for dogs right now, you just have to understand that things that, just like you're trying to adjust to the new normal, so are rescues. So a lot of rescues are way too small to take on that many applications. They run off of volunteers. So you have a group of people who probably have full-time jobs who are volunteering to answer emails in their downtime to help out the rescue simply out of the love of animals. So if you're sending in an email and you're not getting a response, it's probably because the person in charge of the emails is doing the best that they can with the free time that they have to go through all of the emails and get back to the people that they need to get back to. You know, in the past, maybe if you would have applied for a dog, you would have gotten a pretty quick response. Thanks so much for your application, but we already have somebody ahead in line. We'll let you know if it doesn't work out. And that was a lot easier to do. But now we're looking at 50 applications for one dog. And again, like I said, that person's working in their free time. They might not have the time to get back to every single person. It depends on how many dogs the rescue's getting in, and then how many applications are coming in, because it's not like they're posting one dog at a time. There might be 5 new dogs that week, and then they have 50 applications per dog, and then they have to sift through every single application. And you know, the applications are pretty long because they want to know everything about you to make sure that you're going to be a good fit for that particular dog. So it is a lot to go through. So if you didn't get a response, it's because there's a lot of people applying for that dog and you are not the first person to apply, or you are not the best fit for that particular dog, you might not be the perfect candidate for that dog. As heartbreaking as that is, most rescues are in it for the animals. At least with the rescue I work with, they care so much about finding the animal their perfect home. It is their number one priority. And they've been doing rescue for long enough that they know what certain dogs need to thrive, because the last thing that they would want to happen is for this dog to start multiple trials, move from home to home to home to home, and it not work out, because that's a lot for a dog to go through. There are so many factors at play. Some dogs really need to have another dog in the house. Some dogs need to be in a house that has no stairs. Some dogs need to be in a house with a yard. Some dogs don't need to be in a house with a yard. Some dogs need to not be around children. Some dogs don't like men. And these are all things that that really factor in. And even if you feel like you don't care about that, the rescue really does. So at the end of the day, they have the animal's best interest at heart, and you just have to trust that. Now let's talk about how you can stand out on your application. So say a dog does get 50 applications in, it's a super popular dog, how can you stand out? I think that the more personal you can make your application, the better, because they're just looking at the same kind of application from every single person. And what they really want to know is, what is this dog's life going to be like with you? How are you going to make this dog's life amazing? And that looks like sending in pictures of your house. You could even do like a little video tour of your house, and they would absolutely love that, because it would give them a really good idea of what your house looks like, what kind of person you are, and your personality as well, because you can talk behind the camera and kind of give them an idea of like what kind of person you are. The more pictures, the better. Like, you know, do you live with somebody else? Send pictures of yourselves. Do you have kids? Send pictures of the kids. What kind of life do you live? Are you guys homebodies? Do you like to be on the couch? Are you couch potatoes? Or are you super active and you go on a hike every single Saturday and Sunday and you need a dog to be your buddy for that? I think the more you can describe what your life looks like and what kind of dog you're looking for to fit in your life, then the better they'll be able to match you up with the perfect dog. So yeah, I just think the more personal you can make it, the better. Why did that dog catch your eye? Because at the end of the day, the foster and the rescue have bonded with this dog. They have love for this dog, and they will have love for this dog the rest of their lives. I can tell you from experience. So, you know, like speak from the heart. Why did this dog catch your eye? Like, what would it mean to you to have this dog in your life? Pull at their heartstrings a little bit. People that work in rescue are softies. And other than that, just keep following up. Hey, I didn't get a response on my application. I know you guys are probably super busy, but I just wanted to bump this up in the inbox. Would love to get an update on if she's started a trial with anyone, or if we're a good fit. If we're not a good fit for this dog, please let us know if there are any other dogs in your rescue that we're a good fit for, so that we can consider them. I think it's always great to be open-minded. If the dog that you applied for gets swooped by another family, then the more open-minded you are, the more open the rescue will be to work with you to try to find you the perfect dog. All right, so I'm gonna go in, and I asked you guys what are some things that you run into that have gotten in the way of you getting a rescue dog. So this person said wanting to adopt a large dog without already having another large dog at home. Some rescues might require this if the dog needs a playmate. When bigger dogs have a lot of energy, sometimes it's best for them to be in a home with another dog that's a similar size that would be able to play with them. But that's a case-by-case basis, and at least with the rescue I work with, we don't require you to have a large dog at home for another large dog. That's not a requirement. Not all rescues are created equal, so just because that rescue might have that rule, not all rescues do, and so you can definitely look at other rescues if you're looking for a large dog. I think that's so great that you're looking for a large dog, because a lot of people, especially in Southern California, don't have the space for a large dog, and so unfortunately the shelters become packed with large dogs. Try another rescue, or try going to the shelter if that's something that you're interested in. Finding hypoallergenic or low allergy dogs. My partner is somewhat allergic. So hypoallergenic is very interesting. I'm actually pretty allergic to cats, and also some dogs irritate me, not as much as cats, but I do get like sensitive sometimes when we're fostering. But you would be surprised at how you might not have allergies with a certain dog. They don't necessarily have to be like hypoallergenic. I can tell you we have tons of poodle mixes in the shelter in the LA area. We get so many poodle mixes, so many. I would just express to the rescue that your partner has some allergies and that you are very interested in adopting a dog, but you will absolutely need a trial first. And the rescue I work with does a week-long trial. Not all rescues offer that, so if they don't offer a trial, I would look at another rescue, get that week trial, and see how your partner reacts. I would say be open-minded about what kind of dog, what breed of dog. Being sure to find a dog that fits with my lifestyle, other animals, apartment, etc. So you definitely want to put all of that on your application. Make sure that you say you have other animals, list all of the other animals you have, make sure you state that you're in an apartment, and just explain your lifestyle as much as possible. And they will let you know if the dog you applied for is high energy, needs a yard, doesn't get along with other animals, then they won't be a good fit for you. Rescues, especially if they're foster based, have a really good idea of what this dog's personality is and what kind of home they need to be in. Not knowing their past life, the transition for a pup from bad dog parents to good is hard on everyone involved. Not knowing their past life can be hard, but I had Zoe when she was a puppy. I raised her, and she's a quirky dog. She is not the best behaved dog. I can't really take her in public because she goes crazy at big dogs, and she wants to be on your lap the whole time. She wants to be held the whole time. She has really high anxiety, and she's lived I can tell you she's lived a really great life because I've had her whole life. Whereas Archie is the most chill dog I've ever had. Sure, he's a little sensitive to things like noises. He doesn't like when cars drive by too fast, but other than that, he's been such a really easy dog, and I find that rescue dogs often adapt really, really well. And of course, that's not the case for every single dog, but I can tell you of the many, many dogs I've fostered, the majority of them settle in super well. They really want to learn from you. They really want to be a part of your family, and they're very easy to train. Much easier to train than a puppy. So I really hate that that's a belief that these dogs have all had past trauma, and as a result they're not going to be good dogs. Yes, there are definitely rescue dogs who have had pretty bad trauma, and that will affect them going forward, but in my experience that is not the case for the majority. This one says not having another dog. That is something right now that rescues are being a little more strict about because of the way our world is right now, especially with puppies, just for socialization purposes. And honestly, that's for your benefit, because dogs need to be socialized at a very young age. They need to be exposed to as many things as possible, as many dogs as possible. And so when things like dog parks are closed, doggy daycares are closed, you're not out and about like you normally would be with your dog, going to restaurants and things like that. Socialization is very, very, very important, and also easier on the owner when you already have a dog and then you get a puppy. It's going to be a lot easier to train that puppy because you have a dog that's going to kind of lead the way and teach them. If you are getting rejected for that reason and it's because you're only applying for puppies, consider applying for a dog that's a year or 2 years old. I mean, at that point, they're most likely already trained. They'll integrate into your home really well. And I know it's fun to have a puppy for the cute pictures and their cute phase, but I can't even tell you how much easier it is to adopt a dog that's already old than to have a puppy. I will probably never have a puppy again. I mean, never say never, but I really, I've fostered puppies before and it's not fun for me. I hate it. It's like having a baby. So consider adopting older, and there are definitely older dogs that don't need to be around another dog and might not want to be around another dog. So not having another dog shouldn't count you out completely. They just never got back to me after I answered 45 minutes worth of questions online. I know it's so frustrating to fill out that application and spend that much time doing it and then to not get a response. But like I said earlier, please don't take it personally. It's just because these people have so much on their plate. They're so overwhelmed. On top of being in the middle of a pandemic, on top of some of them having full-time jobs, they're getting more requests for dogs than ever before, and also a lot more owner surrenders than ever before. Most rescues will keep your application on file, and that's good for any dog moving forward. So if you did apply for that rescue, you didn't get a response, and another dog pops up on their Instagram feed or their website that you're interested in, just send them another email. Say, hey, I applied for this dog originally. I really am interested in this dog as well. Let me know if you need any updated information. Most of the time, they're not going to ask you to fill out a whole other application. Most places want you to have had a dog in your home in the last 5 years. I'm not familiar with that being a rule. At that point, you might just want to look at nearby rescues. Then that might just be a little bit further of a drive for you. Look at rescues that are about an hour out from where you live and see if any of them have different rules, because I've never heard of that being a requirement. I mean, obviously everyone needs to be a first-time dog owner at some point. Lack of communication at a shelter I tried to adopt from. If I didn't know better, I would have felt discouraged and felt like all rescues were like that. But I tried a few different rescues and had an amazing experience from the one we adopted from. Yes! Yes, that is key. Not all rescues are created equal. Some rescues are run by people in their 30s. Some rescues are run by people in their 70s. Like, that is a huge difference. Communication's going to be different. The way they market and advertise are going to be different. People's personalities are different. So, I think a lot of times people that run rescues just get very numb to it all because they've seen it all. They've seen a lot of devastating things, like a lot. It's traumatic what they go through. So I think sometimes people who run rescues can come off as cold, and it's just because they've seen so much, or maybe they just are rude. And at that point, go through a different rescue, because there's a lot of rescues. Even if in your area there aren't a lot of rescues, there are options. There are rescues that will fly dogs to people. So yeah, please don't get discouraged if you had a bad experience from one rescue. That does not speak for all rescues. At all. It's like restaurants. Like, they're all owned by different people. If you have a bad experience at one restaurant, that doesn't mean that the restaurant 2 doors down is going to also be terrible. What to do when you keep on getting turned away? At what point do you go to a breeder if you keep on getting turned away from rescues? You don't. I think it's unethical. I don't care if there are good breeders out there, as long as dogs are dying in the shelter because there's an overpopulation of dogs. We don't need any more dogs in this world. And by supporting a breeder, you're supporting that. I think the thing is you don't automatically have the right to have a dog. If you are having trouble finding a rescue dog, then you need to try something new. You need to switch your game plan. You need to reach out to new rescues. You need to look at new shelters. You should never just say, well, I deserve a dog and I deserve a dog right now, so I'm going to go to buy from a breeder. Dogs are living things. We don't automatically have a right just to have a dog. So what do you do if everything I've said in this video you've tried and you're still having trouble finding a dog? First, you need to maybe change your expectations of what kind of dog you're looking for. I feel like a lot of times we get really picky with the breed, the age, the size, the color, like all these things. And I can tell you, as somebody who totally understands having a type, like obviously I love Chihuahua type, fluffy, small dogs. I have been the most surprised by the Fosters that look nothing like my dog, that I would probably never pick for myself, that I end up bonding with so much and end up being really great dogs for me and really great dogs for my lifestyle, to the point where if I were able to have a third dog, I would absolutely adopt them. I just think it's important to really keep an open mind, really keep an open mind. you are going to fall in love with whatever dog you get. It doesn't matter what they look like. I can tell you that 1000%. It does not matter what they look like. You're going to way much more value their personality and if they're a good fit for your lifestyle. So, just be a little more open-minded. Getting a puppy right now is hard if you don't have another dog. And like I said, it's not all it's cracked up to be. Like, getting an older dog is honestly the absolute best. I got Archie when he was probably around 5 years old, and he is the best dog. He is my soulmate. Like, I don't know what I would do without him. So before him, I actually applied for a puppy and got rejected. And I'm really glad I did. I'm really, really glad I got rejected because it led me to him. And I just don't know what I would do without him. So if you are getting frustrated, it's because your dog is out there and it just isn't meant to be at this time. I know it's hard and you feel like it's personal because you have so much love to give and you really want to give it to a dog and you feel like you're getting turned away, but I think you just have to reframe that mindset. You're not getting rejected, you're not getting turned away, you're just not the right person for that dog. So be open as far as breed, age, all that. And then next, I would say, if you're having no luck with the rescues near you, try other rescues nearby. Pet Finder is an amazing app, and you can just type in, you actually can search by breed, age, sex, and all of that on Pet Finder, and it will show you, you can set a radius. So you can set it, as far as I think like 1,000 miles or something, and then you can filter through and see, okay, here's a rescue that's about 2 hours away, and then you can try to apply to that rescue instead. Check out Pet Finder, try other rescues, and if that fails, you can go to the shelter. Right now, shelters are taking appointments only. You're not just able to drop by on a whim like you used to be able to. You can try saying, like, this is what I'm looking for, but the shelter is such a mixed bag. You have people who are paid, you have people who are volunteers, you have some people who hate their job, and you have some people who really, really love their job. So you can try to ask, I'm looking for this kind of dog. Do you guys have anything like this? And if you get somebody who is really nice and really loves dogs and really loves working there, then you might get a helpful answer, or you might get a really not helpful answer, because some people that work at the shelter are not nice. That's just the way it is. But you can definitely make an appointment. At shelters, usually what they do is they have a fenced-in yard where you can play with the dog for 30 minutes or so and get a good idea of their energy levels, if they like you, if they feel comfortable with you, are they comfortable being pet. And I just want to clarify the difference between a rescue and a shelter. With a rescue, you're going to pay an adoption fee. That adoption fee covers the shelter fee that they paid for, it covers all of their supplies, it covers any vet bills that they have, and then if there's anything left over from the adoption fee that wasn't spent on that particular dog, it's going to go to another dog in the rescue that needs the help more. So say some dogs need $5,000 worth of medical bills. That fee from the rescue, whether it be $300 or $400, any extra that didn't go to your dog is going to go to that dog that needs the help more. So I know a lot of times people are like, oh, it's so expensive for an adoption fee, but that's what you're paying for. When you go through a rescue, almost always, and this should be the case, they will take the dog back if for some reason it doesn't work out, and they have a better knowledge of the dog beforehand and can give you all of the information that you will need. Whereas with the shelter, they have very limited information on the dog. Some of the workers might have a good idea of the dog's personality, but they might not. So it's just kind of a gamble with that. You pay a very low adoption fee at the shelter. I think it's like $25 some places, and it can be like $100 at other places, but it's very low. And with the shelter, ideally, people still do this though, you don't return the dog. It's very traumatic for dogs to be at the shelter, and you really don't want to return them if possible. So you do run that risk when you adopt a dog from the shelter that you don't really know their history, you don't really know their behavior, and if it doesn't work out, the right thing to do would be to find a rescue that can take the dog in so that the dog can go straight to a foster home and won't have to go to the shelter again. Yeah, you run a bigger risk with the shelter, But I can also say, as somebody that's picked up dogs off the shelter, that I've got some really great dogs straight from the shelter. So yeah, just do what works best for you. You know, if you're an experienced animal owner, the shelter should be, like, no question, an easy option for you. Another thing I wanted to say is that if you aren't following all of the rescues that you're applying at on Instagram, you definitely should. Most of the time, if a rescue is really active on Instagram, that's gonna be the first place that they post new dogs, and that's gonna be your best bet as far as getting an application in first. If you wait for them to post them on Pet Finder, or you wait for them to go up on their website, you might miss an opportunity because they might have already posted that dog on Instagram a couple days ago and people have already applied for it. So definitely follow them all on Instagram. I follow probably like 35, 40 rescues in Southern California because I get so many people that are like, I'm looking for this kind of dog, and I always try to get people to rescue if I can. So definitely just follow them all on Instagram. So yeah, so check Pet Finder, check the shelters. A lot of shelters will also have a database online, so you can look online and see new dogs as they come in. They update that really frequently as well. So look at the shelters in your surrounding area. Again, look at the shelters far away. And the positive thing about the shelter is that you don't have to go through an application process. You go in, if the dog's available to be adopted, you adopt the dog right there. They're not gonna do a home check, they're not gonna screen you. You can get a dog immediately. It really makes me sad when people say that they have tried to adopt for so long and it hasn't worked out for them, because I know that if you've tried that much and that long, that you're gonna be an amazing dog parent. So be patient, it will work out. I hope this gives you a good behind the scenes look of why you might not be getting a response, and hopefully you will be persistent and keep trying, because your perfect pup is definitely out there and they will be so thankful that you waited for them. If you have any questions I didn't answer in this video, leave them in the comments down below and I'll do my best to get back to you. And I will see you guys in another video. Bye.